Skateboarding is a sport that involves riding around on a narrow board supported by trucks and wheels. While skateboarding, people often learn how to do tricks that are extremely satisfying and fun to land because of all the effort and time it takes to master them. Once mastered, a trick acts as your prize. This leads to a sense of fulfillment and a further love for the sport as a whole. However, before one can even have the opportunity to have that sense of fulfillment, they first must go through the process of buying a skateboard itself. Before your best possible way for buying a skateboard is explained, I would like to go over some of the reasons more people should buy them. The first reason to buy a skateboard is that they are a lot of fun to ride. Have you ever been in a situation where you're sitting in your house, extremely bored, and you have no idea what to do? Well, that will never happen again if you own a skateboard. Skateboarding provides an immense amount of entertainment, as you can do so many things with one. You can use a skateboard to go do tricks, you can use one to ride on ramps, or you can even use one to just go ride and commute around. Regardless of what you feel like doing on your skateboard, you can be sure that you will have an immense amount of fun doing it. The second reason to buy a skateboard is that they are a great way to get to places. It might not be as quick as using a car, but is a much cheaper option than spending so much money on gasoline. According to Lisa Wright, a business reporter from Toronto, Canadians spend an average of $437.48 per month on vehicle costs. Comparatively, a good skateboard can cost roughly between $100 and $250, and a skateboard is a one-time payment. This is a huge difference in price. In addition to saving money by commuting on a skateboard, you'll get a lot of exercise. Pushing off the ground to propel yourself is a fantastic form of cardiovascular exercise. The third reason to buy a skateboard is that skateboarding is a fantastic way to meet new people. When you go to your local skate park, there are always people there that share the love for the same thrilling sport. People that are constantly willing to go for skate sessions or just hang out. Even if you're a complete stranger, skaters are very open to new people, no matter what. From my personal experience, it is very easy to make new friends at a skate park. For example, Landon Britton and I met each other at the skate park in town. There are many different types of boards that people enjoy riding around on. In general, these all contain the same parts. The difference between them is in the shape and size of said parts. Longboards, for example, have much bigger decks. This is both in length and width, which helps because this type of board is used primarily to commute and get around at a faster pace. Longboards use much bigger and softer wheels that are amazing at rolling over cracks and rocks that people might find laying in their path. When selecting the board for you, it should be based on what you plan on doing on it. Longboards and cruisers are better for commuting around. Penny boards, on the other hand, are great for smaller people, like children, that aren't quite big enough for a regular skateboard. There are also old-fashioned skateboards that aren't the most practical, but if you're looking for a more classic vibe, maybe that is for you. The most universal type of board is your standard skateboard. This is the best for people that want to do a little of everything. That is why, in this tutorial, I will explain the best way to buy a standard skateboard. Before you buy a skateboard, it is important to know the different parts you will need to buy and what their uses are. Skateboard trucks are the parts that connect the wheels to the deck. Without these, your skateboard would not roll. The trucks contain many smaller parts within them. These are bushings, pivot cups, kingpin, nuts, base plate, and hangers. Bushings are small circular pieces of polyurethane that surround the kingpin. They allow the skateboard to turn much easier. Pivot cups are tiny pieces of polyurethane that rest within the base plate. They allow your truck to turn effectively. Kingpins are the big bolts in the center of the truck. They organize all of the parts of the truck and keep them together. Each truck contains 5 nuts, 4 of which are responsible for keeping the wheels on the hangers, and the biggest one is responsible for keeping everything organized on the kingpin. The base plate is where the hardware goes through to attach the truck to the skate deck. The hangers are where the wheels stay so they can roll smoothly. Bearings are one of the least expensive parts of the skateboard, but they are also one of the most important. Without bearings, skateboard wheels will not spin, and therefore your board will not get around. Bearings always come in packs of 8 because each of the 4 wheels requires 2 of them. They contain tiny metal balls inside that allow the bearings to spin. Sometimes when you buy a pack of bearings, they will come with small cylinder-shaped pieces of metal called bearing spacers. These get placed in the pocket of air between the bearings inside of the wheels. They allow you to tighten your wheels even more while still allowing them to spin at a normal pace. It is okay if you do not use them though. They are completely optional. This may sound strange, but skateboard wheels are the least important part of the skateboard. If you have all of the other pieces and all the other parts, you can still ride your skateboard. This is because it is possible to ride a skateboard if it only has bearings on the hangers. However, this is a very unstable way to ride, since the bearings will not grip into the ground or give traction as you ride. Also, the bearings will loosely move side to side on the axle, so the board could easily slide out, and you would quickly lose balance. Skateboard hardware is a set of 8 nuts and 8 bolts. These are responsible for keeping the deck attached to the trucks. Without hardware, your skateboard would not stay safely secure at all. The skateboard deck is the part that you stand on. It serves as a base for you to be balanced as you ride your skateboard. Decks are often made of 7-ply maple wood, but you can find others made of all sorts of materials. These range from ordinary plywood all the way to carbon fiber. They also can be sold in a wide range of shapes and come in a wide range of graphics. It is definitely better to have a deck that is going to last, but it's also important to not spend too much money on said deck. Grip tape lays on top of your skate deck. It is basically a giant sticker with sandpaper on it. Grip tape gives the skateboard rider a way to grip to their skateboard so they do not slide off. It is, however, possible to ride a board without grip tape, but you will find it much harder than you would if you actually had grip tape. It can be bought with all sorts of colors and pictures on it, but the most common is plain black. When buying a new skateboard, there are usually 2 main directions you want to choose from. One is to choose the individual parts and get exactly what you want out of your skateboard, and the other is to buy a pre-built skateboard. Pre-built skateboards are more affordable than choosing everything yourself, but it is harder to tell if your board is going to be the highest possible quality. When buying a pre-built skateboard, it is important to know which are high quality and which are not. If you go to Walmart and buy a skateboard there, you can be quite sure they're going to be low quality. Walmart skateboards have decks that are made of plywood, which are not only going to break very easily, but they also have awful pop. Pop is a quality of a skateboard that relates to how high a board pops into the air when performing a trick. This is a very useful quality to have when riding because it makes performing tricks much easier. You can be sure you are buying a high quality complete skateboard when you purchase from an actual skate shop. If there are no local skate shops, it's okay. Online skate shops work just as well, and they usually have free shipping. Make sure you're buying a skateboard that does not have plastic wheels. These are very slippery and do not give you the proper traction required by skateboarding. Also be sure that the trucks are made of metal. Cheap skateboards often come with plastic trucks, which will easily break if you put too much pressure on them. If you decide to buy a custom skateboard in which you buy each part individually, you are guaranteed to have a high quality skateboard. When deciding on which wheels to buy, there are usually two main characteristics to look for. Skateboard wheels come in an assortment of colors, but the colors do not affect the way you ride. The important characteristics of wheels are their size and hardness. The size of the skate wheels are measured in millimeters. The hardness is measured on a durometer scale, in which the higher the rating, the harder the wheel is. If you are someone that is planning on mainly commuting around on your skateboard, it is better for you to buy bigger and softer wheels. This is because on your rides you will definitely come across cracks and rocks, which will feel very uncomfortable on your feet as you ride over them. Bigger, softer wheels roll over those obstacles very smoothly. A good size for a wheel if you are planning on cruising around on your skateboard would be 60 millimeters. If you get wheels that are too big though, they will get caught on your deck and you could go flying. The standard durometer rating for wheels meant for cruising is 78A. If you are planning on riding mostly at a skate park, you will want much harder wheels. This is because they are not as bouncy as softer wheels, which will make it easier when going down drops. You will also want your wheels to be relatively smaller than cruiser wheels because it will give you a better feel for ramps and the pavement while skating at the park. A good hard wheel for the skate park will have a durometer rating between 101 and 103A. If you're looking for 103A wheels but cannot find them, sometimes they have the rating 83B. A good size wheel for the skate park would be between 51 and 54 millimeters. These are going to keep you much closer to the ground than a cruiser wheel would. Skateboard bearings can come in a huge range of prices. You can buy some for $10 and others for $70. However, the difference between the two is not going to be drastic enough for it to be worth buying the expensive ones. A good rule of thumb is to not spend more than it would cost for a pack of Bones Reds. This is because Bones Reds are the industry standard when it comes to skateboard bearings. These bearings cost roughly $25, but you can get bearings that are just as good for a cheaper price. The company Enjoy sells ABEX 7 bearings for $15, which is a fantastic price for such high quality bearings. Skateboard hardware is very cheap to buy. The most you'll spend on a set is around $6. Hardware comes in different colors, but that does not affect the way that you ride, so you can just pick whichever one looks best to you. However, make sure you do not buy long hardware because it is meant for longboards that have very thick riser pads. Without those riser pads, they will not keep your trucks attached to your deck. Picking your deck can be one of the hardest parts of buying a skateboard. This is because there are so many sizes, shapes, and graphics. It feels hard to choose which one is best for you. People usually choose decks based on how their foot feels on the board, but since this is probably your first skateboard, the best size to buy is 8 inches wide. An 8-inch wide deck is the standard size. That means that if you would be better off on something bigger or something smaller, you would still feel comfortable on an 8-inch deck because it is not that far off. Next is shape. The most common shape for a skateboard deck is your standard popsicle stick shape. These are the cheapest to buy and they will feel the most comfortable for a new skater. When it comes to graphics on skate decks, they can increase the price a lot. You can buy a skateboard deck without graphics and they will work just as well, but you can also buy decks with graphics at lower prices. A good range in prices for a skateboard deck would be between $50 and $60. Within this range, you can buy both decks with and without graphics. Next is choosing your trucks. Trucks have a variety of aspects you can look for. Some trucks are longer, some are shorter. Trucks can be hollow, others are solid, and they come in a variety of different colors. In general, you want to choose the length of your trucks based on the width of your skate deck. The truck size 139 ranges from 7.75 inch decks to 8.25 inch decks, so those are usually the size you want to go with. When choosing between hollow and solid trucks, you will want to go with hollow. They are lighter than solid trucks, so it is going to make doing tricks much easier. When choosing the color of your trucks, it is crucial that you like the color. The trucks are the parts of your skateboard that will last the longest, so if you do not like the color, it will be a long time before it is worth buying another set. A lot of trucks come in a standard metallic color. This is a good option because it will go with whatever deck you have on your skateboard. Lastly, you need to choose which grip tape you want. Different companies that sell grip tape sell theirs with different grits. So if you want something super grippy, I would recommend Mob grip tape. A benefit from Mob grip tape is that it can be purchased with a variety of designs. So if you do not want plain black, you can have a cool graphic on top of your skateboard. If you want something with a finer grit that will be more smooth, you should buy Jessup grip tape. Jessup does not sell as much grip with designs, but it still works very well. Now if you're looking for something in between, so you do not have to sand down your shoes as quickly as you would with Mob grip tape, but you want something with a bit more grip than you get with Jessup, I would recommend Shake Junt. Shake Junt grip tape is fantastic because it is an intermediate grip tape that also has cool designs. A sheet of grip tape can cost between $6 and $20. So they are more expensive if you have graphics on them, but you can usually find sales. Once you have picked out all of the pieces you want, all you have to do is buy them. When you purchase from a skate shop, a worker will put the board together for you if you want. This is really convenient because it can take a while to do it yourself, especially if you do not know what you're doing. Even if you order parts from a skate shop online, there is usually an option to have it shipped already put together with no additional charge. Now that you have your skateboard, there's only one thing to do. Have fun and ride it. It does not matter if you're bad. Everyone starts off not knowing what they're doing, so just enjoy yourself. According to Marshall McLuhan, this video presentation is an example of hot media. This is because it requires no participation from an audience. I, the creator, supplied you, the listener, with all the information.